The most tragic monster in cinema history has returned, and this time, it's on an epic level compared to previous adaptations. This 207-year-old story's new version carries as much passion and dedication behind the camera as it shows on screen. Here are some fascinating facts about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. For his entire life, Frankenstein has been one of Guillermo del Toro's favorite stories. At one point, he even considered making it a trilogy, with the first film focusing on Victor Frankenstein, the second on the creature, and the final one centered on Captain Robert Walton. Once again, the monster's design was inspired by the legendary 1983 Frankenstein comic illustrations by Bernie Wrightson, who was a close friend of Del Toro. Even before production began, Del Toro secured the rights to use Wrightson's iconic designs. Originally, Andrew Garfield was cast as the creature, but due to scheduling conflicts, he had to drop out. Jacob Elordi then stepped in to take the role. The makeup team had already spent 9 months working on Garfield's look, but had to completely redesign it for Elordi in just a few weeks. To capture the movement of the creature, Jacob Elordi studied the Japanese Buto dance, a performance art known for its dark, uncontrolled, and fragile body language, as well as humi, or Mongolian throat singing. For Elordi, this became the most challenging role of his career. Some days, he spent nearly 10 hours in the makeup chair. Other times, he would begin work at 10 p.m., stay up all night, and go straight to set by morning. Del Toro praised Elordi's dedication, saying that even during 20-hour shoot days, he never once complained or asked to leave. Elordi, in turn, said it was the most comfortable he'd ever felt in a role. "This was the most at peace I've ever been." Del Toro didn't want Victor Frankenstein to look like a typical scientist in a lab coat. He imagined him more like a rock star. Oscar Isaac's performance drew inspiration from David Bowie, Mick Jagger, and Prince. And indeed, Del Toro said Oscar Isaac was always his one and only choice for Victor Frankenstein. This marks the second time Isaac has played a godlike obsessive creator, the first being Ex Machina, 2014. Both Frankenstein's laboratory and Captain Anderson's ship were built as fully practical sets. Del Toro made his stance clear. "I want real sets. No CGI, no AI, no simulation. I want craftsmanship, hands that paint, hammer nails, carve wood." One of the earliest creative decisions Del Toro made was to use circular motifs throughout the film, representing the story's cyclical structure, beginning and ending with Victor's confession. The circle also symbolizes the sun and the divine. Many sets, especially Victor's laboratory, were designed with this in mind. It took 9 months to build the laboratory set, but Del Toro was given only 3 hours to light it and a maximum of 12 takes to shoot the scene. Months of craftsmanship decided in just a few hours of filming. The ship set for Captain Anderson was designed by Matthew Betts, who also worked on the Terror series. During the lab scenes, a large sticker of Boris Karloff's 1931 Frankenstein monster was placed on one wall, a reminder to the crew of the legacy they were continuing. For Del Toro, Frankenstein isn't really about the misuse of science, as many believe. It's about failed parenthood. "It's not a warning story," he says. "It's a story about the human soul, forgiveness, understanding, and the importance of truly listening to one another." This new Frankenstein takes inspiration not only from Frankenstein, 1931, and Bride of Frankenstein, 1935, but also from Gothic dramas like Wuthering Heights, Dragonwyck, The Inheritance, and Rebecca. It arrives 94 years after the original Frankenstein, 1931, and nearly 31 years after Kenneth Branagh's 1994 adaptation, a version Del Toro describes as almost perfect. In this retelling, Elizabeth is no longer Victor's fiancée. She's engaged to his younger brother, William. That means the once-child character was reimagined as an adult. Mia Goth plays both Victor's mother, Clary, and his love interest, Elizabeth Lavenza. Del Toro placed the connection between the mother and the lover at the very heart of the story, an idea that grew out of Mia Goth's real-life experience with new motherhood. Through this, Del Toro explores the Oedipal layers of Victor's longing for his mother, all through a single actress. Christoph Waltz plays a new character, Harlander, created specifically for this version. He's loosely inspired by Dr. Waldman, the scientist who first inspired Victor's experiments in the novel. For years, Del Toro considered having Doug Jones, his longtime collaborator from Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy 2, and The Shape of Water, play the monster. Charles Dance portrays Leopold Frankenstein, Victor's father, a role he also played once before, in another Victor Frankenstein film. When Harlander first meets Victor, he calls him Prometheus, then warns that he will become the eagle that eats his liver, a direct reference to the Greek titan who stole fire from the gods. It's no coincidence that Mary Shelley's original novel was subtitled The Modern Prometheus. Del Toro also included a nod to his close friend, game designer Hideo Kojima. Del Toro played a Frankenstein-like character named Deadman in Kojima's Death Stranding, and he recreated one of that game's iconic shots in this film, when the camera moves inside the creature's body as it comes to life. Later, when the creature lives with the blind man, he reads Percy Bysshe Shelley's famous poem Ozymandias, a touching connection, as Percy was the husband of Frankenstein's author, Mary Shelley. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Goodbye.